Pierre, we've known each other now for well over 20 years, and I've studied your game in great depth. How would you say the understanding of the game seems to be at the core of your teaching philosophy, and how is that understanding achieved?
I think that in the French method of learning, we give the priority at the level of the young player, but also at level the elite player, to the understanding. Why? Because we think that the capacity of a player can develop well if they understand what he is doing on a rugby field, and particularly on the situation of movement, where the ball is moving and where the players are moving. And evidently, this capacity to understanding is interesting when it's well executed, and the link between that I call understanding and technique is certainly a priority. But it's not necessary to have a good technique if you have not the understanding which is as good as the technique.
So the priority you give is to the understanding of the moving game before technical game.
Yeah, sure. And it's when understanding begin to be at a good level that we introduce the technique and the capacity to execute well what you have well understand, well read.
So the technical game is introduced to move the tactical game forward, in other words.
Yeah, exactly. And also with the physical game, the physical potential is working after that.
Yes.
And also evidently the mental capacity of the player are important.
Yes.
But the priority is for the young boys and for all the time in the career of the player is to give them the tools to understand better the rugby,
the whole game.
The whole game.
You mentioned often at the beginning there that the game of the beginner and the game of the elite, the international player, is the same. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's we use the same method to teach to the player, but it's evident that the young boys have not the same capacity than the elite player. So we adapt the game situation for young boys differently than for the elite player. We built the player in function of what they are able to do at each level.
I understand that, but the basic principles you say apply
are exactly the same. You can have the same exercise with elite or with the young. The difference is in the capacity for elite and young to realize that
and their experience.
Yeah.
And this is a process. You would say the boy at under 16 would have a greater capacity to understand the philosophy than a 10-year-old because of his experience.
Yeah. They have more experience and they have more. I speak of tools. For me, it's important. You are 6, you have some tools. When you are 10, you have more tools, and so on. You know.
Yes. So in effect, the techniques enable the players to perform the game in a much greater capacity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what's important to understand is that we use a lot the game with opposition to do that, because the opposition, it's always the reference and the reference for the player to understand if he has played well or not, and it's also the reference for the coach.
And the degree of opposition will be according to the capacity of the players to understand.
The degree of opposition have to be sometimes easy, sometimes more complex, and you have to go from the easier to the complexity.
And that's the skill of the coach.
Yes, exactly.
Recognizing
yes, if the coach saw that the player have the ability to realize something well, you have to make more complexity.
I understand. How do you think this project that we're working on here will help the coach with the visual presentations?
I think that this project it's interesting because it seems me that it's complete change between that the coaching you have and that we have, and for me the model, the ideal model of coaching maybe could be the organization you have and the liberty we leave to the player to build himself with the coach his rugby.
Using this teaching method, Pierre, how long does it take, you think, a young player of around about 10 years of age to understand enough of the principles of the game so that he would say, yes, I see how this game is played?
Oh, I think that the best period for player to understand really the principle of this method, it's between 10 and 14.
Right.
Because it's at this age that they can learn better, they can understand better what we
take
want.
More on board.
Yes. And that they are able to keep it for all the life of
so those are the key ages, where it's understanding and skill. They have enough capacity to play.
I think so. I think so. And evidently, I cannot say it's at 10 or 11 or 12, or because the players are different.
Of course.
And sometimes something which is possible for one at 10, he can understand some principle. Another one, it could be at 14. But you have to organize your coaching also with that, your practice with that.
Is it possible, some people say it is a French way of playing. You've coached in many countries, sometimes to complete beginners, and you've coached in England. Do you think it's possible for young players of any nationality?
I think it's possible to learn that way for each nationality, and for me it's evident. It's a question of presentation of the methodology.
It's not the culture that will stop it.
No, certainly not.
No.
Not.
Pierre, it's been a pleasure, and I hope we can enlighten a few minds to this method of coaching.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure, and we'll have a quick drink to that.